A busy day on Capitol Hill today as the Senate kicks off day 2 of confirmation hearings for President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet nominees. You are looking at 4 of the 5 hearings going on right now. Those are Secretary of State nominee Marco Rubio, CIA Director nominee John Ratcliffe, Energy Secretary nominee Chris Wright, and Transportation Secretary nominee Sean Duffy. The Office of Management and Budget pick Russell Vought will appear in just a few hours from now. Also speaking today, Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi. Trump tapped her for the role after former Congressman Matt Gaetz withdrew his name from that position. Gaetz, as you know, faced intense scrutiny over the House Ethics Committee report outlining alleged sexual misconduct and drug use. Bondi served as the Florida Attorney General and represented President-elect Trump during his first impeachment hearing. Now, just moments ago, Senator Blumenthal had this essential question for Pam Bondi. Take a listen.
Can you say no to the President of the United States when he asks you to do something unethical or illegal?
Senator, first, I need to clarify something that you said, that I have to sit up here and say these things. No, I don't. I sit up here and speak the truth. I'm not going to sit up here and say anything that I need to say to get confirmed by this body. I don't have to say anything. I will answer the questions to the best of my ability and honestly.
Let me ask you, an individual who says that he is going to, quote, come after, end quote, people he alleges, quote, help Joe Biden rig the presidential elections, that he has a list of people who are part of this deep state who should be prosecuted, that he's going to close down the FBI building on his first day in office. Is that a person who appropriately should be the FBI director? Aren't those comments inappropriate? Shouldn't you disavow them and ask him to recant them?
Senator, I am not familiar with all those comments. I have not discussed those comments with Mr. Patel. What I do know
is I'm asking you for your view.
Excuse me. What I do know is Mr. Patel was a career prosecutor. He was a career public defender defending people. And he also has great experience within
CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us now from Capitol Hill with an update on all this. We heard Pam Bondi answering a lot of hypothetical questions about how she would confront demands from President-elect Donald Trump. Does this shed some light on some of the major concerns among senators with her nomination?
She's being asked a number of those types of questions, but she keeps reiterating that she's not going to answer hypothetical scenarios involving President-elect Trump. So Democrats keep trying to throw this punch, but she keeps trying to duck this punch. There were several telling exchanges, though, and not just from Democrats. Let me walk through a few of the top lines in my notebook based on what we've seen in the hearing room today. She's been asked point blank if President Biden won the election, and she keeps responding, President Biden is the president. Democrats have hit her for equivocating on that, trying to criticize her for being part of the baseless claims to overturn the Pennsylvania electors after 2020. Expect to hear more of that as the afternoon session begins. Also, she's being asked about the January 6th pardon, saying she expects to do a review case by case if asked to look into that, indicating she wouldn't go for a blanket pardon, which many people fear is the reality here. The Republican senator from North Carolina, the senior senator, Tom Tillis, was asking her a series of questions along those lines too, and Senator Tillis offered his opinion, saying anybody who saw the injured police that day would find it untenable to say that was a momentary lack of judgment by the violent rioters January 6th. Perhaps the strongest statement yet, Liz, from a Republican against blanket pardons for Capitol rioters. This is the trajectory the hearing has gone down, where Democrats are pressing her on ties to Trump, Republicans largely applauding her service, but also making their statements, in that case from Senator Tillis, on their thoughts of pardons for January 6 defendants.
You know, Scott, senators also asked Bondi about the Laken Riley case. Now, a reminder for our viewers, the House is currently working to pass the Laken Riley Act, allowing law enforcement officials to detain immigrants suspected of crimes, illegal immigrants suspected of crimes. Can we take a listen to that statement?
Senator, he should not have been in our country. and then Laken Riley would have been alive. And I don't think it's just Laken Riley. There are so many victims throughout our country. Not only that, we're all familiar with the violent gangs who are coming into our country, walking into our country freely through the open border. The cartels, the gangs, Venezuela's let people out of their prisons. It's been reported. I don't have the security clearance yet to see what's happening, but I know, we all know, there are criminals throughout our country, and it is my commitment to you on both sides of the aisle that I will do everything in my power with the agencies that fall under me if I am confirmed to make America safe again. We have to do that, Senator.
Scott, where does that legislation stand now, and are we seeing what's to come under the Trump administration?
A very timely conversation on that topic because the U.S. House has just passed the Laken Riley Act, making it lawful for the feds to detain undocumented immigrants accused of shoplifting and other related crimes. The U.S. Senate has begun its consideration of that legislation. The Senate takes some time to work through bills. She is speaking to a room full of senators who are part of the deliberations, including Democrats, some of whom may support it.
All right, Scott MacFarlane live for us there on Capitol Hill. Thanks so much for that reporting, Scott.